Now we'll go to item
I've got
three.
a second.
What?
Who seconded that, Bo?
I did.
Crosswalk, Highway 98, 4th Street.
We get a drum roll for this.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of discussion on the location of the crosswalk. We got some information from DOT. We actually came up with three different locations, and one we considered to be preferred. And Molly's engineer with our office, and maybe we need to turn that a little closer to the commission, but I'd like for her to summarize the alternate locations here.
Okay, so when I was interpreting the email from Priscilla has, I was trying to figure out where the DOT and you had discussed where the crosswalk was, and this is kind of where I figured out the ideal location as far as the department standard or standpoint was. However, I kind of have an issue with this location as far as a safety standpoint, because once we shift this to this location, we have to keep it in line. This stop bar is going to end up moving back behind the crosswalk and creating an even worse sight distance scenario than already exists. And you can see my sight distance line right here, standard sight distance DOT, and it goes right in front of that tree. Yes.
Oh, we don't like that.
You don't like that?
No,
Okay, my interpretation of
No.
DOT's thing was
They
incorrect.
didn't want that.
Okay, good. I don't like it either.
interpreted my email wrong.
I just thought that's what you wanted, so that's why I drew it.
Sorry.
Okay, here's my second. This is the option that I think works the best with the layout. Extend this sidewalk, and I've heard there's improvements going to be going on in the boat ramp area. Right here, you can extend just a little piece of sidewalk here, across at a relatively decent location, and extend the sidewalk in the Veterans Park to connect out here. And kind of make it more of a destination. You're improving the park area, and you're kind of directing people to walk through the park and see the memorials.
It connects the two.
And then also pushes this crosswalk back here, so it's a mid-block crossing, and avoids messing with this stop bar and the bad sight distance situation. Another idea that me and Russell were discussing, and kind of ties to what you brought up earlier, is as engineers, we do not like acute intersections, bad crashes, we don't like them. So we just a suggestion, future planning, expand the park and close off, abandon this roadway. There's still access for this gentleman's driveway. Make access from here for his driveway.
Or from 4th Street.
Or from 4th Street and
Yeah,
over here,
that's
that's an
4th
option.
Street, that's 4th Street access.
Okay, that has 4th Street access, so then there's no real reason for this road. There's right here and right here, and it's a safe intersection. That's just an idea that we thought we'd share with you.
So doing that would enhance Veterans Park and also provide a safer roadway.
Yeah, I like your drawing of it, because I've talked about closing that road, it hasn't been presented as an issue. You know.
Now,
That helps,
the
right.
DOT folks do recommend with crosswalk, they do, you might know, that easier permitting approval if there's a little sidewalk project included with it.
That's right, and this incorporates that too.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the little slide?
But
Or right here.
the fellows, and I think I've presented to this board, was over on the other side of 4th Street, simple crosswalk on the other, no, on the other side, on the west side of 4th Street.
The west side,
Yeah, that's.
Way over there, yes.
yeah, that's what this is. That's what this would be.
I'm sorry, why can't I read maps?
It's okay.
Okay.
I shifted my view, so it's confusing.
Oh,
a
so,
little
but
bit.
you're doing it like a mid-block.
Yeah, it would still be a mid-block crossing. This is the third option that just
Yeah.
kind of gets you away from that whole tricky intersection.
Okay.
But that's
But that really doesn't provide good, close connectivity with Veterans Park, so.
I like that.
That's my, those are my favorite options.
Would
as
there,
well.
would
There are
our
two
free
now.
pavers be considered sidewalk?
With what?
That's already there?
I think you could say that.
Or if you continue the pavers in the Veterans Park, would that be a sidewalk project?
Right, I guess
I think there's an argument
think
for
so.
it. I think we just have to present a good argument.
I think
it's so that it all matches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pervious, so you're not impacting the stormwater.
You could always stamp the concrete and it looked like pavers.
Exactly.
I think we want consistent material there, so, you know.
Just make it so wheelchair folks and other utility car users can get across.
Right.
If you were to expand the Veterans Park into that stretch of road, then what would that look like? Just off,
Yeah, well, that's a good question, and you were talking about providing parking back there, and I think actually that we have an older survey, it may be about, I don't know, 6 or 8 years old, of that right of way, and I'll check it when I get back, but there may be, if the right of way is wide enough, there may be an opportunity to put in 90-degree parking. Still closing, right, and still closing the connection there to 98. But that would be a way to provide parking, but that would not eliminate the roadway in that case.
because of it, there would be parking.
Right. And it would have to be 90-degree parking.
Yeah. I'm looking at, if we're going to extend the park, let's extend the park
And I like that better.
and figure out the other things, because then parking could start to go up on 3rd and 4th Street.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is, I mean, there are other areas.
Maybe even just putting a few 90-degree spots right here.
Well, since we're not gonna close the road right now,
I know that, but I just,
I'm ready to move on.
okay.
All right,
Yeah.
well, if it pleases the board, we'll proceed with this configuration location of the crosswalk.
Is TDOT reasonably happy with this?
Yes, sir.
FDOT, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm from Tennessee.
They are.
Okay.
Okay, do we need any action on this?
I just wanted to ask, does the director like that? Okay, all right, and the work partnership likes it? Okay, all right, then I motion that you carry on with your DOT FDOT permitting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Veteran Park repairs. Freedom Fountain. Who's got that one?
Well, we just need to discuss what we want to do with this, and thank you all for reading the preliminary discussion that I sent out about it. Do we want to make this into a planter that would hold drought-resistant plants, similar to the plants that are out in the landscaping
Thought that
now?
was part of the bid. When we gonna cut the tree down and all that?
We'll have to decide, do we want to cut the tree down, or do we want to keep the fountain? Do we want to remove the fountain? I mean, we've had all different options and suggestions brought up from the public. So, now the brick mason said that he could easily convert that fountain into a planter. He didn't give a quote because we don't know what we're gonna do with it. It needs to be approved here tonight.
Well, if you're gonna keep it a fountain, you're gonna have to cut the tree down. But if I remember, there was a discussion about the leaves and all that, clogging everything up, all the cleanup and stuff. So you're gonna have to do one or the other.
Right, and if you're gonna have it as a planter, you may have to cut the tree down because it provides too much shade that plants that where our ordinance requires won't allow,
Okay.
they need sun, so.
Who put the tree? You remember?
Well, that was Yeah, the Seals Garden Club, I think they installed it probably 20 years ago.
Were they not in favor of one way or the other?
Well, it's outgrown its usefulness, it's outgrown its location,
I think I got a letter.
it served
from y'all.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Steelers Garden Club is fine with cutting it down and, you know,
Well, let's make a plan to cut it down.
Does that take a, we don't have to vote, does that an
No,
executive
that's just
decree?
in your process of getting this done, I guess.
I think we should motion to cut that down with the approval of the Steelers Garden Club, and I actually
You got a
have,
letter from me.
yes,
Yeah.
and we
And I
need
told the
to
group-
make sure that letter is in with the minutes, or, you know,
I would not have.
we don't want to have any kind of sentimental problems down the road here. There's a lady wanting to speak, Miss Penny Anderson.
Yeah, I'm coming up there, I can't hear anything that's going on. Hello?
Oh,
Okay, my name's Penny Anderson, and thank you to Leslie for turning me on to this meeting, and thank you all. But my consideration is with the Veterans Park. And first I want to give you all my personal experience with it, and then my input on the three items, tree, fountain, soldiers. So my personal experience with this is I love it. It is a tribute to our veterans. It's calming, it's soothing. I go there for every, Memorial Day or things like that. And I just go on my own. It's a place of reflection. And it's got a place to sit, and it's got a fountain, which would be really nice to keep it as a fountain, because a fountain provides reflection, and everybody is nostalgic about fountains, which we put 2 dimes in it, and pennies in it, and it's cooling in summer, and to, just turn it into a planter, I can't see, but, this is all my opinion.
okay, so you're really in favor of keeping the fountain?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My suggestion, however, is bring in the fountain experts, and I think it's just with the vulture and maybe cement bricks, I don't know what it is, that needs repaired on it, and get it into a working fountain, and then drain it in the winter, or whatever need be. And then any maintenance that will need done, whoever's going to maintain it, it's trained by the fountain experts and on a schedule, and see how it works. And I know kids go and put bubbles in it, and adults go and put bubbles in it, or, so, but I don't see that that's harmful. So, my opinion is to fix it as a fountain. And you see it's called Freedom Fountain. Okay. The pear tree. I understand it's the leaves from the tree causing the problems with the fountain. That's my understanding. And I think it should be cut back. You can see where it needs cut back. It's growing way out. Cut it back, make it tidy like it used to be. It's too big, it's too beautiful, it's growing, it loves it there. Leave the tree. The wall. Well, the wall, if it needs fixed, fix it. The statues. It's my understanding they need raised up, and that's already in the process.
tougher discussion.
But I've heard from, two people who are veterans. By the way, I have discussed this with this whole thing, with probably more than a dozen local people. And they agree with me. I pick out the people I discuss with. And if, military speaking, whatever, I think they do need raised up 3 feet or something. So get that done. And then possibly that with them, they need to be in a straight line. And I didn't really check it out, what kind of rooms up there to do that. So if those things need done by veterans or military or whoever, get that done. The trimming of the tree, that doesn't cost much, trimming the tree. And just don't, my suggestion, don't have any incompetent people come in and do the work that a professional, maybe it costs a little more, bring them in, do it right. And then train who's ever to maintain. And let's see. Yeah. Okay, it says removal of the statuettes and side by side, but it just means take them up and put them in a side by side thing
Yes, that's what it means.
and raise them up. Does anybody know if that's a fact? That they need to be in a straight line?
Well, the suggestion was from one vote because of the color standards, so they are all in a straight line.
Well, I often thought of that when I'd be around there. Why is that guy standing first and that guy's in the middle and these guys in the back?
Anyway. You have something to say?
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'll wait till finish.
What?
Go ahead.
Okay. And, let's see, I covered everything I'm supposed to. I think I did. Another thing is a lot of, and I don't know how the grant runs. But anything that needs repaired, do that first. Why get a bunch of new things then when you can't even maintain the old?
Miss Penny, we are trying to repair Veterans Park. We're trying to repair the wall, we're trying to get that done, we're trying to get something done with the Freedom Fountain. I don't know what's gonna happen with it here tonight, but we're trying to get that repaired. It stands with water now, we don't want that. And the tree needs to be trimmed back or removed, one or the other, we're aware of it, and we're trying to get that worked out here this evening now.
Okay.
We appreciate your input.
Yes, thank
So
you.
you're working on it. But it isn't just me about the tree being cut. There's other people.
And
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before I go though, something needs done about the PA system here. I can hear this one perfectly well. Is that clean?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a request from the audience. I'll add that to my agenda. Just a couple of thoughts, since Penny presented some ideas. The alignment of the statues on the edge of the line, I believe the correct thing would be to have them face the flagpole. So they would present themselves back toward 98, front towards the flagpole, so that you were in that space. And there's one other additional piece that I've actually talked to Bo maybe a couple times about. In my mind, the Veterans Park is very nice, but there's one big piece missing from that, and I think it would serve us well to add it to it. We have very fine World War II museum here. And Camp Gordon Johnson is a major part of our history. And I think that if you were to commission some sort of sculpture that represented that museum, the activity that happened here 55 years ago, that it would be a good thing for that particular site. I'm thinking of one image that I have. I know you probably have all seen the photograph that has the barbed wire and the post and the soldier that's leaping over, storming the beach. That could be done in iron or something and silhouetted up against the sky, and it would provide kind of a very visual sign without being a sign. And since 98 and the DOT and all that has issues with signs, they may not have issues with sculptures. And so just a suggestion along those lines.
And that's a nice vision, and we'll keep that in mind during our next budget allocations. Generally, in parks like this, the exhibits are donated.
Right.
So, you know, we would want to look for someone to donate something like that. And we would need a location in the park. The park is overloaded right now.
Well, I have a suggestion on that.
But we're not going to do that right this minute.
Oh, I understand.
As we get into our budget allocations. Okay, we'll look at that.
And then I'm passing on Tamara's question. She wanted to know what it meant to say in a non-ADA accessible
Okay.
side-by-side lineup.
Suggestions that Mr. Amon has made to put them in line like this. That means that they won't be ADA accessible. That's 36 inches is ADA accessible. There won't be enough space in between them. As it is now, it's ADA accessible all the entire circumference. If you move this one here and this one, then they won't be ADA accessible the entire circumference. But if we're going to go ahead, it seems like we're talking about the statues. Greg Christopherson, who's who's this district second district vice commander for the American Legion, has come up with an idea, an official idea.
I even have the hat.
Yes, so please,
All right.
please listen. Okay.
Well, I've been over this, I've been to the park several times. The statues, they seem to be an issue with some of the veterans. I've talked to quite a few veterans at the post, and some don't have any preference one way or the other, whether they're raised or not. Some, and the only one that I know of that actually did raise the issue about raising them. The issue I have with them is that when they were purchased, there was no Coast Guard soldier available. So there's two Navy guys, and one just holds a Navy flag and one holds a Coast Guard flag. So they're not really appropriate in the first place. Secondly, females are not represented in a male statue. No other race than Caucasian is represented. My suggestion, and I'll pass these out here real quick, would be to remove the, remove the statues and replace them with military shields on the wall that would represent each of the 5 branches of the military underneath the Pat Bragdon brass, bronze, and make them, these are color, because the only thing I could find that would, I could get on it, but you can pass that around. And that way, and here's another.
These are 8-inch, right?
Yeah, those are 8-inch. I also have one with you can probably get a 10-inch in there, but similar to this, where each branch is on a wall. And that way, it opens up the park to where you could have benches, you could have ceremonies there, the soldiers aren't in the way. If you wanted to have a sculpture, there'd be room for it, in the future. And I would go with bronze, something like this, because it's the same as the bronze plaque there that was in memory of Mr. Bragdon. And these would all be in line underneath the other statues. And the thing about the statues right now, they're in kind of poor condition. They need to be painted. Some of them have cracks in them. And again, there's no Coast Guard represented, and I think they're too gender specific really for the military of this day and age. So that's my suggestion, and you can all think about it.
And what is the price of?
They're around, the 8-inch were around $175 or $90, something like that, and the 10-inch were $255, I think, a piece. There's several places online that sell them. I would research that a little more, but I just kind of took a quick look.
Have a drawing showing the 10-inch?
Oh, yes, I do.
How wide is that? How wide is that hole?
That whole thing is like 10 feet 9 inches across there. Oh, actually, that part is, I think it's, I think I might have given that 10-inch one away to somebody. Somebody's got it.
How did you do that?
I don't have it up here. Yeah, his is larger there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like the 10-inch seal
Yeah.
better than the.
Yeah, the whole wall is 10 feet 9, so that's probably about, I can't remember, but those are 10, so
Bigger is better.
bigger is better, yeah.
And this is
Those would be $255 a piece
to scale.
in bronze.
And as I understand from the brick mason, he just kind of off the cuff, the pedestals would be the pedestals would probably be around $350 or $400 for each pedestal. Didn't it seem like the pedestals were going to be more valuable than the little statues?
And then you're gonna have to replace the statues too, because they're aged and they wouldn't look good on a brand new pedestal. And you put that old, and then two Navy guys, do they stand next to each other, or do you put one on the other?
And also the base of the pedestals, the statuettes may break because they're embedded in cement, and when they go to take those out, they may break and may end up having to buy all new statuettes. This would be, I like this idea, I'm just gonna say it. I like this idea, I think it's honorable, it's respectful.
Brilliant.
Clean. It opens up the patio for ceremonies, and I like thinking about this, and the paver sidewalk coming in, it just seems like it might be very nice and respectful.
I agree. Is there a way to put service flags that the statues each sort of carry? I think
Somewhere else on there, somewhere, we
Yeah,
could probably,
so
sure, we could think of something, but.
That one you have has flagpoles.
Right, that one, they're on top, I mean, and
I
then,
think that
but that memorial has different levels, so, you know, if somebody's gonna be higher than the other one, then you're gonna get, you know. And there's 5, so it's an odd number, so.
There might be a way to put them around.
Oh, we could, yeah, put them around in the park somewhere else, yeah.
The service flags have a.
Service flags and a,
Or we could put a grouping of the 5 flags. Now, flagpoles run about $3,500.
I mean, short flags.
Oh, short flags. No, they have to be. So,
Maybe.
so that's a suggestion, I just think that, the statues as they are, like I said, there's no females, we have a lot of females in the military now, and I think it's just fair to make it just the seal of the service.
all right,
Thank you.
Can I ask the public then, what do you think of removing the statues, possibly donating them to Camp Gordon Johnson, or selling them as surplus online?
Didn't Pat pay for all that?
Not
No.
the statue,
We bought those about 8 years ago for about $400.
Each.
Okay, well, Pat didn't buy it.
No, we wouldn't do that without consulting.
I just-
Oh, my
They're
goodness.
just like the ones that are over in, South China.
Let me ask you a question, too, we're talking about those little brick pavers. Wouldn't it be simpler to get a bronze plaque similar to that and put the names in bronze and just maybe have 2 or 3 sections of this bronze name?
It would, but individuals have already purchased those papers, so we're responsible to maintain those.
I purchased one, I understand. But I think the name engraved, if you're not gonna charge them again for the name engraved in bronze, they would accept that. I'm sure. And it's not,
I like it.
They were very, very particular about the wording on their various bricks, so as long as you.
I'm just saying, as long as you stay
Well,
with
we
it.
could give an option.
But if it costs the bricks at $175 a piece,
They fall off.
Are they, they're 35?
oh, okay, well, where's that?
Something else was, oh, that was a light bulb, for goodness sake.
The advantage of the bricks I'm pointing out is that as other people add to the list,
You could always have it, take the plaque off, engrave it, whatever
yeah,
you needed to do. I'm just saying it would be,
look nicer, I think.
I think it would look nicer, but it would also last longer and look better longer, and you wouldn't have all this repair all the time.
You know, I wonder how other communities that, I've been to many of those brick
I-
walls that are inscribed and they don't fall off. Ours fall off. How does that happen?
Well,
I have no idea.
they need to be set in mortar, you know, by, as professional, with grout lines, and they were just kind of glued on there, so that's what's happened. In the future, Commissioner Williams, we may run out of space on that memorial wall, and it was suggested by the consultant to possibly look in the future for some type of big granite memorial type of a monument, like a big headstones, and then get your little plaque, individual name plaque, bronze, and put the name and the date, and screw those in there with bronze cap screws, you know, on the big. For the
Just a
future,
suggestion.
I like it.
and that would be space saving also, similar to a cemetery, we just don't have that.
Okay, Ms. Pete, what?
Yeah. I understand about the statues and all this, but the statues could be painted black, one could be painted black, one could be painted something else. About there being no women there, you get somebody in there and maybe put some, I'm a woman on the back, or, you know, something. But I'll tell you why I like the men, because when you go in there, my experience, everybody's got little giggles, this me. You see that these were human beings, or that they are human beings. You go in there and you see just a metal, it's like when I go to the museum, you know, I love those little logo patches, but I don't really know what they mean. But you go to that park and right away you say, these were human beings, these are people. And it's another issue, maintenance, money, whatever. But that's just my opinion on the matter. I like them guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we go from A to B?
Well, I don't know how we
Well,
progress.
mainly it was just discussions at this point, so.
But I would like to go ahead and get it moving, you know, it's,
Okay,
It's a
we'll go
little
back
tiring,
to,
Dylan.
okay, we'll go back to number A.
or we can
Okay, let's
deal
go
with
back to,
this.
let's go back to number A and take care of it.
All right, what do you want
All
to do?
right, Freedom Fountain. You want to convert it to a planter, remove it, or do you want to keep it as a fountain?
Can I ask the director, do we have staff to keep it as a fountain, to keep it maintained every day? Staff?
The answer to that is no, because we don't do it now.
We just don't have staffing to do it. We could hire a full maintenance fellow, to come in and do it. Do we want to do that?
You could make it a planter and put the little guys on the corners of the.
That was one of the suggestions.
Oh, that's an idea.
Put men on the corner?
You know, make it be the freedom place.
Well, there's only 4 corners, there's 5 statues.
Well, you know,
One
there's
on top.
just one on the top. There's the Navy guy.
The Navy guy on the top.
Put the Navy guy on the top.
Take a rotate. Okay. Do I have a motion for any of those?
We really need to do something with it.
I have no attachment to it, so I really,
Okay, Okay,
I'll tell you, it was donated as a fountain. It's almost like someone gave you a pony for a Christmas gift, and now you have to maintain it forever and ever. And we just don't have the staff to maintain it, honestly. And I'll go ahead and motion for it to remain there in honor of the donation and in honor of the Sea Oaks Garden Club, but let's let the brick mason make it into a planter.
But I think you should cut down that tree. If you leave the tree, nothing's gonna work. So
okay,
start,
we're gonna come to that.
yeah, but that's
Okay,
really the first
We have a motion on the floor
issue.
for a planter.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the pear tree.
I voted for that t-shirt. Okay, for the pear
You
tree.
made the motion.
Yeah, well, I know it. I'm trying to get him to go to parliamentary procedures class.
I have a,
Okay.
We have a pear tree. It needs to be either trimmed back, cut down, removed.
Whatever we do, Duke Energy will help us on that. They'll at least trim it down around the wire so it can be,
So, let's, this is not read some of the sides.
I know it.
And go straight to the issue.
I'll make a motion that on the basis of the Sea Oaks Garden Club, that they're suggesting it be removed.
I have a motion to remove the pear tree.
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the memorial wall, repair, replace of commemorative brick.
Now, we are going to repair the wall. So that's, do we want to let the brick mason take each brick off tediously and take them back and clean them? It looks like his quote to do that would be $5,200. Some bricks will break, we'll have to replace those bricks. If he just takes them off and no cleaning, if we replace all the bricks that are on there, his fee to remount all new bricks is $4,200, and for us to buy all new bricks was $10,500, something like that. We've got $4,100 in the fund at Carabel Cares. So,
Do we know how many commemorative bricks there are?
300 and something.
274.
So 300.
Yeah, 300
Let
bricks.
me ask you a question. I'm in favor of not doing anything with that yet, and let Courtney check on a bronze plaque, maybe a number of bronze plaques, and we can pick this up at our next meeting or something.
That's what I was going to suggest, other than, I don't know, I was asking how many because of the wording. It might be worthwhile checking with a couple of the people that own it.
I would like to do that also. So, I'm going to turn that over to Courtney, check it out. We'll come to that
now
next
Courtney,
meeting.
will Courtney have time to call these people and ask them if their bricks can be?
On every, you want to
No,
know?
we haven't called about the
Okay.
rest. No, all we're interested at this point is how much it's gonna cost
Oh,
for
for
bronze
Ron.
plaque.
Okay.
Either 2 or 3 big ones be mounted separately, whatever, or individual, either one. Okay.
Also thinking about what we can do going forward.
Well, that gives us some information.
Right, so that should be part of our
Yeah,
thinking, you know.
okay. The paver patio.
Well, if we remove the statuettes, it will have to be repaired.
Oh, you talked to that part.
Yes, sir, and they can be, did have a suggestion that some of the outside patio bricks can be taken up and used to repair the holes that are right in the middle, and then replace the outside, maybe with whatever pavers we end up in. And
There's pavers only run a couple, $3 fee.
it's the brick mason mentioned we might not be able to find the same style.
I think I got
Okay. How was that?
it. I had some left over.
Okay, same style?
Square redwood.
Those are
across the roof?
I would leave that up to the brick mason. I don't have a lot of time
All right.
to be doing all.
Okay, we're gonna repair those areas. Okay, have we made a decision about what we're gonna do about the
No,
about the
we
statue?
either remove them or put them up on pedestals,
Okay.
They don't have to be on pedestals, really.
or leave them how they are. I mean, y'all definitely can still leave them how they are.
Just as part of the process.
I didn't hear your discussion.
If the statues are moved, they become ADA, non-ADA.
Okay.
That's,
You know, I'm sorry, I've been to lots of ADA compliant monuments in Washington and all the national parks. They've got things up on walls or on pedestals in a row, and I mean,
you never run.
I don't know what that, I mean, I really didn't know what that meant. I mean, I guess it does mean you can't get all the way around it, but you can't get around behind the Lincoln Memorial, you can't get around behind many of veteran statues all over the country. So, I mean,
It just need to keep Karen brought that up, and
I just think
he
it-
just wanted us to be aware
if it
that.
was if they're up on a wall or pedestals one together, it would.
My sense on the ADA piece,
Yes, sir, in the hall.
It's not an issue.
yeah, if you remove it, it's not an issue. But my sense on the ADA piece is that as long as everyone has the same treatment,
Right.
meaning both able people and disabled people are able to encounter the statues in the same way, there's not a compliance issue.
But if you can't get to the wall, that would be, you know,
Yes.
Yeah, if you can't get to the wall.
Okay.
I would suggest to make it more simple. The statues are very inexpensive, brand new, they can be replaced for $375. We're gonna build a pedestal that's actually worth more than the statues that might be damaged. The base of them may be damaged when they're trying to be removed from the paper patio, they're embedded. That would make us have to replace one or then all statues. Maybe we need to look to the future to see about getting a life-size statue, something that along the lines that Steve suggested, something that would be a nice, a very nice memorial to the military. Remove those statues, don't replace them. Instead, for now, put your military seals like this up under bronze to match the Mr. Bragdon's bronze plaque there for now, and let that be as an open gathering space for
Motion?
I'll motion for that.
Have we got a cost on what we're talking about?
Yes, sir, these plaques, what did you say?
$255 a piece,
For a 10-inch.
plus shipping.
Say that again, please, sir?
I said plus shipping, I don't know what that would,
So
I'd
about
have to check.
300.
Yeah.
These seals here would be cheaper than the pedestals in bronze.
Okay.
And then we wouldn't have to pay.
Commemorated plaque, are we gonna have to buy that, or is it already there?
The plaques are there.
That's the-
Oh, this big plaque, this is, this bronze plaque is already there.
I go to the cheaper way, I would think the bronze plaque would be much better.
Then if you decide to go with the bronze plates that you're talking about, then it would,
Yeah.
everything would match.
Okay, I need a motion,
Got one.
you got one?
Got a motion, yes.
Brenda, and you said to remove the pedestals altogether, or the statues altogether,
Uh-huh.
and add the bronze seals to the wall, right?
Yes.
I second the motion.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Are we gonna donate to Kemper and Johnson?
I'll leave that up to the board, whatever they want to do with it.
All in favor? Yes. You got it? You need a motion to donate the others, well, I don't know if they're asking if they want to.
Okay, well, all right, I'll motion to donate if they want, if not, sell them as surplus online.
Very good. I have a motion for that, second.
Second that motion. We don't want to I'm sorry, Nate. Greg, will you look into the flag thing,
All right.
even though that wasn't in the motion, and then we'll discuss that.